can make it over anything when we focus on our liberty. It doesn't matter where we used to be. We're waking up and now we're breaking free. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. We can make it over anything when we focus on our liberty. It doesn't matter where we used to be. We're waking up and now we're breaking free. Jalapeno, jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. We are rising into victory, celebrating our humanity. It doesn't matter where we used to be. We're waking up and now we're breaking free. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Hey, hey. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Yeah. We are rising into victory, celebrating our humanity. It doesn't matter where we used to be. We're waking up and now we're breaking free. Yeah. Check, check, check. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. You say. Hey, hey. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. You say. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Hey. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Hey. We can make it over anything when we focus on our liberty. It doesn't matter where we used to be. We're waking up and now we're breaking free. Yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah. Jalapeno habanero, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love it. Welcome in, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday or whatever day it is when you're watching this. Man, welcome into another beautiful Wednesday, man. I think we're going to have a really great conversation today. Today, we're going to talk about really this loneliness epidemic that we seem to be in, and how do you stay connected in it. And I do have some thoughts about this one, a lot of thoughts, and I guess I'll just kind of jump right in, man. I guess I'll jump right in. Hell yeah, habanero. I started realizing that there was a connection problem even when I was still a pastor. And I think I've shared some of it, in some of our conversations in Sunday sessions. But it was this idea, I can remember coming to a point of realizing that the majority of the people in my lives were ornamental and not functional. Like the majority of my relationships were ornamental, pretty to look at, nice to hold, but really can't do anything, or really doesn't meet any need, and so I realized, like, man, I'm surrounded. I'm in these crowds, but I'm not really connected. And then, I even took it a step further. I was sharing with our head of community in this past Sunday. We have these little touch points right after our Sunday sessions, and I was sharing with her that I realized around that time too that just like we don't connect intentionally anymore. And this was something that probably came to me because, and this is just me talking, honestly, probably came to me because around the time that I was going through my deconstruction happened years before my deconversion, or my deconstruction began. But when I was going through my deconversion, I was seeking help. I was seeking counseling from my mentors, from other pastors, from other what I would call brothers in the faith, and not even at this moment, not even this thing of, hey, help me understand this, or help me, help me understand the Bible, or help me understand why God isn't showing up, help me understand the absence of God or suffering in the world. I don't know if you noticed, but it's like those things weren't things that I really struggled with, right? They weren't a struggle for me. Those are the things that I knew, like, if I couldn't find the answer to, you couldn't either. you know and so those weren't really the things, but it was just really trying to finally get oriented in my own life, because that's what my deconversion process was helping me realize, that I had been dislodged from the seat of agency and the seat of autonomy in my own life. And so I was really seeking help from my mentors to help me find me. I was seeking help from my brothers in the faith. And I mean, these are people that I used to talk on the phone to, like, all the time. It'd be 3 or 4 or 5 of us on the phone talking for hours. This is why I don't talk on the phone anymore. But we'd be talking for hours, and we had been doing it for years. But then I realized, when I started asking them, things that pertain to my life, there was this huge disconnect. And I'm like, wait a minute, we've known each other this whole time. We've had all of these long conversations, and y'all really don't know me. As a matter of fact, even while I'm seeking advice, you're not actually asking questions to better understand where I am or what I'm dealing with. You're pulling pre-scripted answers and giving them to me because you believe, like, hey, that's how the world operates. Okay, now maybe that one's not close enough to home for you to deal with. How about this one? How about when you walk down the street and you see a perfect stranger, and you really ain't got time for conversation, but you see a perfect stranger and you say, hey, how are you doing? And you keep walking. I noticed that one day. I'm walking down the street and I say, hey, how you doing? And then I asked myself, shortly after I got past that person, if that person would have actually stopped and said, you know what, man, I'm so glad you asked me how I was doing today, man. The past 5 years have been rough. Let me start at the beginning. I would have been absolutely shocked. I would have been like, whoa, what are you doing? Whoa, bro, I was just giving you a greeting. But I realized that, and it's just for me, I realized, like, bro, you're operating off of a script. And if somebody actually responded to the words you said, you would be thrown off, which means you're saying stuff that you don't mean. And that's something that a lot of us do. Hey, how you doing? and you're hoping that person says, fine, how you doing? And they keep on going. And when you think about how long we've been doing that, these are the things that contribute to these are things that I think contribute to this loneliness epidemic that we're experiencing, is that we really kind of got dislodged from connecting to each other, because we have so many shortcut scripts that we can use to relate, that are socially polite, but they're not functionally practical. They're not helping us in many ways. And so that's kind of where I want to talk to. That's kind of what I want to talk about today, is like, how do we get, all of us dealing with like, I still wrestle with loneliness, but that's actually now, that's probably, did I freeze up on y'all? Okay. That's now why that's number one, why I do the work that I do. And then number two, why I protect my space the way that I do, because, oh man, if I'm gonna be lonely, I'd rather be alone. You know what I'm saying? And so I protect my space. That, like, I don't want any more ornamental. Okay, am I back yet? I hope I'm back. I don't want any. I don't want ornamental relationships. I want functional relationships. So let's talk about the myth. Just compliment their dogs. I love that. Let's talk about the myth of automatic connection, right? So we have this assumption that connection happens naturally if we're around people long enough. And true, relationship happens naturally, but not necessarily connection. We get some type of way that we relate to each other, that we dang, I'm freezing up again. What's up with my internet today? Some way that we relate to each other, some way that we identify with each other. But connection is a little deeper than that. So because of that, we tend to judge the health of relationships by the amount of time a relationship has established, not by what has come out of that relationship. So for example, like one thing that I grew up hearing people always saying is like, oh man, I wish my marriage lasted as long as such and such, and it's just like, wow, why is the metric length and not time? I mean, and not actual health. Why is the metric quantity and not quality? Yeah, I want a relationship just like grandma and granddaddy had. And I'm like, I don't think you really do want a relationship like grandma and granddaddy had. I think you just look at the fact that they made 50 years or 60 years or 70 years, and you use that as a shortcut to say, oh, it must be successful. And so again, these are just how these are these mental shortcuts that we take that actually impede the way that we really connect with other people. And so we have these assumptions like families should automatically feel close, right? Or that workplaces should automatically feel supportive, um, whatever community groups you're a part of, that they should automatically create belonging. But connection is an intentional progress where all the pieces got to be working together. So it doesn't happen automatically, it happens intentionally, because none of these, I think sometimes we confuse exposure with connection. I'm exposed to you, I have access to you, but it doesn't mean that I'm connected to you. I know even as a content creator, that's something that sometimes like just blows my mind, of how many people who think they know me because they know my content. And I'm like, oh no, you don't know me. You don't That's a shortcut. You haven't earned knowledge of me in the same way I haven't earned knowledge of you. I don't even pretend to know people that I don't really know. This is why, like, you'll see me in conversations with people and somebody will say something and other people will be absolutely shocked at that person saying something. And I'm sitting at the table, not shocked at all. I'm no, Durante, oh, why am I freezing today? Durante, you're not shocked? Did you hear what they said? Can you believe that they said that? I can. I can believe that they said that, because the difference between me and everybody else at the table is I know we all strangers. I don't know anybody. So I'm never shocked. I'm just listening. I'm listening, you know? So anyway, exposure without intentions kind of produces crowds, and exposure with intention produces circles. And most of us were never taught the difference between the crowd and the circle. So we show up, we participate, we stay involved, and when the connection doesn't deepen, we internalize the failure. Something must be wrong with me. We wonder why we still feel unseen, why conversations stay surface level, why relationships feel transactional or draining instead of grounding. Now, you will find that out about me. Like, I do not like surface level conversations. I know I used to aggravate the hell out of my wife when we first got married, because my wife, she just loves small talk and stuff like that. And I despise small talk. Like, I really do. So surface level conversations, like I'd be like, hey, where's this going? How does this conversation impact us? That's, call it my spicy, call it, I don't know, but I'm just like, I don't like surface level conversations. I went to a conference last year that I spoke at last year. And one thing that I realized, because immediately after leaving the conference, I got on the phone with one of my team members, and they were asking me, how did it go? How did you like it? And I told them, I was like, you know what? I almost left the first night. I almost left the first night. And then I told them, after staying, for the whole thing, I would likely not ever participate in that one again. And it wasn't, no, there were some things that happened, and I won't be the carrier of that bone. There were some things that happened that were like, whoa, huge red flags. I don't want to be a part of this type of situation at all. Like, nope, get this away from me. But there was also something else, that I shared with my team that was really, and it's more of a personal preference thing. And I'm like, no, I get why this is great for so many people, and this is good because I'm not even in the part about connecting better with yourself yet. But we're I get why this is good for so many people, right? But if you pay attention to me, there's a certain thing that I'm trying to do. There's a certain thing that I'm trying to accomplish. And I really enjoy being in environments that feed that, right? And so the thing, and that's why I said I don't want to talk it down because it was good for other people, but it wasn't good for me. The moment I realized we were standing around a pool with all of these great content creators and people ready to ask questions, and then like for like 45 minutes straight, I might be exaggerating, but we're talking about nothing but, how foolish the Bible is, and all of the circumcisions. How many foreskins did David have to get? And I'm like, why are we doing Bible study at an atheist event? You know, like there are no Christians here. I don't get it. And because to me, like surface level, like what does this conversation move us to? Is kind of where I was. So I'm like, no, I get it. I get why you like these things, and I get why you may think I like these things. There is some cross intersection, but I don't talk about these things to be funny. I don't talk about these things to poke at Christians. I don't talk about these things just to get people like, yeah, he got another one against the Bible. I talk about these things for people who are on the other side of their faith, still dealing with the trauma of being in it, to find a roadmap to get out of it. Right. So my guiding light is helping people. I'm not really going to be interested in a lot of conversations that are not focused on helping people. Like someone asked me recently, hey, would you do a video on Bishop such and such who just got caught doing such and such? And in my mind, I was like, no, that's just something I can't. How productive would that be if I just went through the news every day and looked for somebody who got caught doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, you know? Uh yes. And so I do like my conversations to be productive. And that's because part of it is, and let me just be absolutely frank here. Part of it is gossip. Yes, that's what that is. Part of it is I I actually understand that we are in a bad place. And when I say bad place, I don't say bad as compared to where we've been. It doesn't have to be worse than where we've been for it to be bad. We're in a bad place in humanity. We're in a place where we're surrounded by stuff, but we don't understand it anymore. We're surrounded by people we don't understand, technology we don't understand, laws we don't understand. And so, honestly, if it's really this bad, then I just don't have time for gossip. Like no, no, no. If things are really, really this bad, then I don't have time to just play the games that everybody else are playing just to feed your rampant consumerism. Like if we're going to be doing something, we got to be doing something that helps. Come on, some time to get away, you know? So I like conversations where we're actually diving into something. But and so here's the point. Connection doesn't form by accident, it forms by design. And that's one thing I've been working on for the past decade of my life, getting very intentional about my connections, how I connect to myself, how I connect to others, and how I connect to the world around me. Now, this one isn't in my notes, but I think this is really helpful, maybe helpful for some. But like a part of that thing is that now I don't connect with other people based on convenience alone anymore. Which that's something that I used to do. Like we're in the same space. You say you like me, I like you, we're connected. You like what I do, I like what you do, we're connected. Now I actually pay attention to behavior and if the connection is genuine. Um, yeah, because this is something that I found out. This is something I realized early last year. Which, if you'll notice, early last year I stopped doing a lot of interviews and stuff, and I stopped going on a lot of other channels, and I literally resigned from the line because I was like, oh snap, this isn't connection. This isn't connection. I mean, there's some utility to it, but none of these people are connecting with me because of me. These people are connecting to me because I have a convenient label. Damn, this is good. Oh, this is good. I didn't mean to go heavy. No, that's what I realized. Like, no, these people aren't connecting with me because they've actually listened to my content, because they actually understand the work that I'm trying to accomplish. No, these people are aligning with me because I'm another person who shares their label. I'm another person who is an atheist. And then all of a sudden, like, to me, that leans into an identity dynamic that's just as damaging as religion itself. Because then the problem is you're treating me like my label and not my name. And so then it becomes, well, if Durante is an atheist, then, like, because this is what got me. I was on a few shows, like there were two specific shows, but different episodes, and multiple times people would make these statements, these us statements, these we statements, that both of us or all of us, I can speak for all of us. And I'm like, how can you speak for me and you don't even know me? The only thing you know for me, know about me, is that I'm an atheist and that I'm a former pastor. Like, and so I don't tolerate false connection, for for whatever the reason, whether it's, well, you're just too busy, you're aloof, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. That's cool. I just ain't got time for stuff like that. I'm a whole human being, not a label. Not a label. You don't get to speak for me unless you and I've had that conversation. Is that good? Is that good? No, I pay attention to when people are actually trying to get connected to me versus when people are trying to get connected to what they think my name can do for them, you know? And that's not a gatekeeping thing. That's an issue of maturity and superstition, right? Anybody who thinks just being connected to my name will do something for you has vastly overrated, what overrated my influence, overestimated my influence vastly. My names don't do that. Faces don't do that. And so that's why I love my team right now, because the team that I have right now, they're not connected to Durante, the YouTube content creator. You know what I'm saying? No, our relationship goes deeper than that. They actually paid attention. This is what you're trying to build. Oh, I would like to build something like that too. I would like to be a part of building. See, that's connection. Now our relationship has some functionality to it other than we just share the same label. Come on now. Oh man. Okay. So big point is, connection doesn't happen on accident. It's intentional. Okay. And it's very easy for crowds to become a substitute for belonging. I appreciate y'all out there. Y'all are amazing. It's very easy for crowds to become a substitute for belonging. Now, I don't want to talk about crowds negatively. I don't want to negate the value of crowds. I'm not one of those persons. I remember, as a leadership professional, one of the things that used to aggravate the hell out of me is I was not a fan of John Maxwell. Like, I had bought his Bible and his leadership stuff, and after I read it, I was like, this is bullshit. This is fluff. Like they say, but in a leadership mantra, they'll say, be a leader, not a manager. Wait a minute. And people fall for that bullshit. And I'm like, bro, that's not how words work. Everything is not mutually exclusive. So we do the same thing. So I don't want to present crowds like, oh no, you need circles and not crowds. Crowds bring you down, circles lift you up. No. Crowds serve a purpose. They create energy, momentum. They provide shared experience. They can inspire, they can motivate and mobilize. But crowds cannot carry the full weight of our relational lives. And I think a lot of people confuse their crowds with their circles. And that's why they're always so disappointed when somebody in that crowd doesn't line up with their expectations, but you do not realize that your expectations were premature. Damn, this is good. Your expectations, like, just because we're in the crowd together doesn't mean we know each other yet. All right. Disappointment is the child of false expectations. I expected something that I had no right to really expect. I expected something that I had no real reason to expect. I expected something that there was no evidence, no context, no conversation that could lead me to the conclusion of that expectation. Yet it was my expectation. Okay. And so then when it doesn't happen, then I'm disappointed. Then I'm disappointed because I took the shortcut instead of realizing, instead of orienting myself, this is the crowd. This is not a circle. All right. I can find my circle in the crowd, but I have to be very careful not to confuse the crowd with the circle. Okay. Because then what are some things that goes wrong in life when you confuse your crowd with your circle? See, your circle can hold nuance. Your circle can hold your dissonance. Your circle can hold some of your secrets. Your circle can hold your bad days. Your crowd will flip on you in a moment. Now, this is something that I've seen rampant in the secular community. This is one of the reasons I stepped back last. I'm like, boy, these people turn on each other like wildfire. And I'm like, you're not even that close to each other to turn on each. How can you turn on somebody you don't even know? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're living in an illusion and tying all of your emotional energy into the illusion of relationships that don't actually exist. You're living vicariously through relationships that you haven't actually developed. It's happened so often. And so then somebody you follow on Facebook says something that you don't like or you disagree with, and now your whole day is ruined. No, baby, they might be in your crowd, but they're not in your circle. You're not close enough to that for that to really impact you. This is one of the reasons why we're having this loneliness epidemic, because our emotional energies are more invested in people we don't know and have no proximity to than they are in the people that are with us every day. We're not building relationships that we can touch. We're not building relationships that we can test. We're just building contact lists. It's almost like it's not even a relationship. It's just like we want teammates without a team. Oh, that's good. Yeah. We want teammates without a team. We want to be able to say these people are on my team, but we never want to do the work to learn how to work with the people. You know? We have to learn. I had to learn. I had been confusing my crowd with my circle for damn near 30 years of my life. And when I stopped, oh man, life got so much better for me. Number one, I stopped being angry at the crowd all the time. Because then I could be like, oh, Durante, this is the crowd. This isn't the circle, bro. This is the crowd. This is not your circle. Why are you mad at those folks? Ooh. Why are you mad at those folks? That they not in your circle. And when I say they're not in your circle, I'm not even just talking about like that ain't your problem. I'm saying you don't have an ability to do anything about it. That's literally how I defined gossip, even back when I was a Christian pastor. I defined gossip as talking about anything that you don't have the capacity to do anything about. Right? No. What are you talking about it for? Is there something you could be doing to get in a better position to see it? Is there something you could be doing to get in a better position to do something about it? Is there something you could be doing to get in a better position to understand? Otherwise, I don't understand how you're so confident in what you think you know about somebody else with that big ass gap of space in between y'all. You see that? You see how we do that? All right. So here's the thing: crowds do not know you, and you don't know the crowds. It's a simple saying that I have to myself. I don't give myself permission to know anything that I haven't actually tried to know. I don't give myself permission to know anything that I haven't actually tried to know. So when people try to come up to me with a gotcha, well, how do you explain how the universe got here? I'm not an astrophysicist. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I'm not actually trying to know. And so me giving you an answer would be me pretending to know something that I haven't even actually tried to know. So a better approach would be to recognize that you're operating in bad faith anyway, because you're asking a random how the universe got here instead of actually putting the question before someone who's qualified to answer it, which either means you're operating in bad faith, it means you're either ignorant or immature, and neither one of them are going to lead to a productive conversation. I don't have to spend 3 hours in an argument with you to know that. Mhm. Isn't that good? No, I can treat a problem like a problem the moment I see it. I don't have to wait for you to see it. And I think that's what some people do. Some people wait for the other person to see that it's a problem. And that's how they stay in these long ass, useless, fruitless arguments with people. And I'm like, you didn't see that they were already stuck where they were? I was gonna say stuck on stupid, but I try not to do that too much. You know, yes, crowds take up, oh my goodness, they take up energy. And it's because they don't know you, you don't know them, but the energy makes you feel like you do, you know? And that's a part of the way between our consumption of media and between media algorithms. That's kind of the way we've been trained to interact with each other, is to not really know people, but to know them through sound bites and media clips, you know? And so it's like, no, like y'all know my favorite illustration to give is me watching the Grand Family Hustle, T.I. and Tiny, and the whole time my wife had to be sick of me as much as I was complaining about Tiny. And this woman is not my wife. This woman is not somebody I know. I've never met her. I've never met T.I. You know, I don't even think they know my name. I mean, T.I. might know my name, but I don't even think they know my name. I've never been in their house. I've never been been around any of them. But here I am thinking, because I see them on TV, that I have a right to have a fucking opinion about their lives. And yet I don't know them. I don't know enough information about their lives. And I recognize that everything I do know about them, I'm watching through a filter called media, and allowing myself to assume, allowing myself to suspend my disbelief and act like, yeah, the media only show the truest depiction. What? That's what you believe? That's your understanding of the world, you know? So no, we've been groomed and programmed. And when I say that, I'm not one of the people who talk about some secret cabal, because we're the ones programming ourselves. You know, they controlling us to do this. Then turn the fucking TV off. Then stop buying. You know. Okay, I'm gonna get off that high horse. The point is, we end up creating frustration in our lives when we're trying to get value from the crowds that doesn't belong there, right? um and then we have to be honest with ourselves that sometimes we're using the crowd as a substitute for real connection. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about, like, sometimes aren't we doing that? Duh. Who? Okay, okay, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I think it works. We're going to see. Crowds feel safer than circles. Yeah. Yep. We need to have some soft music playing right now, because I feel like this is therapy at this moment. Crowds often feel safer than circles, which is why we'll retreat in the crowds and never really build the circle. For the crowd, I get to look like I have the relationship without having to do the work of relationship. I get to say we friends without ever having to go through the awkward phase of experiencing something that I don't like about you or you don't like about me. Crowds, they feel safer than circles, because in circles, I got to be honest. Oh man, see, in crowds, we're close, but we're not connected. You know what I'm saying? But once we get in the circle together, I'm looking at you in your face. Once we're in the circle together, you can't hide your flaws. Once we're in the circle together, your insecurities have nowhere to hide. See, the crowd is a perfect playground to hide everything. Ooh, because crowds are generally organized around an experience, not people. Oh, this is good. This is good. So like when you go to a concert, when you go to a protest, there are crowds there, but the crowds are not there for each other. They are there for something else. They are there for the experience, which is why they don't typically pay attention to each other. So sometimes we like to just hang out in the crowd because we don't want to do the hard work of connection. And it's we don't want people. I like that. I love that. Second sports. The mask is no good in a circle. Like this is one thing I do in all my leadership meetings, all my business meetings. I smoke and I drink in all my meetings. I smoke and drink in all of my meetings. You know why? Because I smoke and drink in real life. Hello. I smoke and drink in all of my meetings. I be high in about every video I do, about every single one of them. And so I smoke and drink in all of my meetings. Y'all ready for why? Because my meetings are circles, not crowds. I'm rarely meeting with anybody that is not right. Definitely this one. Yes. I rarely meet with anybody who is not in my circle. And that's not because I'm so big. And I hate that because I'm not big, right? I keep telling people my 15 seconds of fame is going to be up any day now. This is the person I had to become to get here. Okay, I don't mean to go into coach mode, but like this is this is this is for somebody who's wrestling with how you see yourself and why people won't support you and why people won't help you and why people want get behind the things you're doing. A lot of times that is a mirror reflection of how you treat yourself. At least that's what it was for me. Now again, I don't believe in one size fits all anything. So if this fits, perfect. If it don't, give the shoe to somebody else. But many times the problem is you're waiting to get somewhere to treat yourself like you are like you're a big deal. Okay. And see, treating myself like a big deal had to stop being about who treated me like I was a big deal. Because at that moment, it's about image. Oh, at that moment, it's about image and not productivity. And so me treating myself like I'm a big deal meant that no, I just don't have time to waste. I've been doing this since I was living in that single wide trailer with all six of my whole family in there with holes in the walls and cabinets. I said, no, I got to start treating myself like my work is important, like my mission is important, like what I do matters. So this is why I stopped answering my phone calls. Why? Because what I do matters. So I get that you have time to talk for 3 hours about what Shanae did and Shaniqua did and what brother Billy Bob is doing down the street. I don't live there anymore. I'm sorry, I can't live there with you because I got too much to do. I hope that little commercial break was for somebody. All right. All right. So I don't think I'm gonna get through. Ain't no way I'm getting through all of these notes. Ain't no way. All right. So crowds can't facilitate the way that circles can. And so many times we like to stay in the crowd because it keeps us safe, you know, and not just safe from having to expose ourselves. We've talked about that. But isn't it really uncomfortable and often disappointing, which we kind of talked about a little bit, when you have to deal with other people's insecurities and you have to deal with other people's vulnerabilities? Because the truth is, you're not always sure if you're going to know how to handle their vulnerabilities. You ever been sitting in a room and somebody started crying and you didn't know what to do? Sometimes stuff like that scares people so much that it's easier to just stay in the crowd than get in the circle, because I don't know if I can handle your vulnerabilities. I don't know if I can handle your insecurities. Damn, this is good, y'all. So when we try to get belonging from the crowd, it's almost like trying to get, apple juice from a grape. That's not what that's for. That's not what you do there. You can get some grape juice from it, but you're not getting apple juice out of that, you know? And so I think a part of the epidemic, I think a part of the loneliness epidemic is people aren't even safe enough to admit that they're lonely because they're afraid that it might mean something is wrong with the crowd. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with the crowd. It just means that somehow you've convinced yourself to use the crowd as a substitute for the circle, you know? And by the way, these notes that I'm giving you, not a lot of this is me flowing too, but these notes that I'm giving you is available in a very free generic ebook that we designed for our first time guests for Bridge City. And I'm trying to see if I have the guest thing here. If I do, yep, that's it. All right. So any of you are interested in the ebook, it's absolutely free. You don't have to give me your email address or anything like that. It's not a capture site. I do that. Don't get me wrong. Now, that's good business, but that's not what this is. This is a free gift. And when I say free, it's free. And it's not very high level. It's written very low level, more so you can get the thoughts, and it comes with reflection questions and all that jazz. So if that's something you're interested in, that's where you can go to get that free gift that's available on our global campus. If you have a question that is relevant to the topic, super chat me. I'll throw you on up in here. No, actually, if you have a question that's relevant to the topic, I'll just throw it in the chat. If you have a question that's irrelevant from the topic, throw it in the chat. Super chat it. Super chat irrelevant questions. I still may not answer them, but at least I'll have a super chat. You see how I did that? I like that. All right. Oh man. But so I'll keep my eye on the chat and see if I see a question pop up. So connection regulates us. Connection doesn't just impact how we feel. It impacts how we function. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so big. Like, that's the whole mission of Bridge City, right? Is to help people connect better. Why? And it's in the mission statement. Why am I so big on hey, we need to help people connect better? Because we're not going to be able to build better together unless we fix our connections first. And then we're not going to be able to live better if we're not building better. See, in order to live better, we have to build better. And in order to build better, we have to connect better. So somebody has to make that priority. And that's where I've decided to take my seat, because connection shapes so much more than just how we feel. It shapes how we interpret stress. Okay. And I'm a person with critically high blood pressure, so I'm almost always stressed out. Living in a world this large without connection is damn sure gonna stress you out. All right. Let me talk to some of y'all real quick. Let's talk. Let's just real talk. Think about the last time you were really stressed, and then try to hone in on the why. Not the what you were stressed about, but the why. Why am I really stressed about this? Go back as a thought experiment. Go back over your life. Go back through your whole timeline of all the times you've been stressed that you can remember. And then think about the times that you've been more stressed than other times. CP time. I love it. More stressed than other times. What was the difference? For me, the difference in the times where I went through something and the stress felt minimal, and I went through something and the stress felt maximal, is that the more I felt, The more alone I felt in it, the more stressed I felt. Can I say that again? The more alone I felt in it, the more stressed I felt. Mhm. Ooh. Let's talk about stress, baby. Hey, that was a good one. That was a good one. But yeah, man, yeah. A lot of times, so you can see very quickly that connection impacts our stress levels. You know, you getting kicked out of a house by yourself is bad. You and your roommate getting kicked out together, at least you got somebody to talk to about it. Talk to about it. That's that stress lever, that stress reliever. Connection shapes how we recover from setbacks. When we first started gathering interest in LA for our SoCal community, we have these little Saturday groups, which they still do. And one things that came up in one that I led, I think, is we had this conversation like, why is community valuable? What and that was the throughput, but that's what we wanted. But the question was, what do you need from community? You know, and one of the things that came up is like just somebody to call. And I'm not talking about somebody to call for bullshit. I mean, that happens too. And everybody's not like me. I'm hyper productive. There are some people out here who still love to be on the phone. Still love to be did I miss it? I must have missed it. Let me get over here. Who still love to be on the phone all day, every day, doing their thing. Oh, I appreciate y'all so much. I love super chats. Thank you, Second Sports. That is absolutely beautiful. Y'all are wonderful, man. I really do appreciate y'all. This is not easy. The putting yourself out here like this is not easy. It's one thing to put yourself out here as an atheist. It's another thing to put yourself out here as a black atheist. But then to put yourself out here as a black atheist who still preaches and still cares about people and actually cares more about fixing where we are than I do about just rage baiting. Like it's hard. It's hard. I get attacks coming from all sides. So I always appreciate the love that I get from this community. Y'all are wonderful. All right. But one of the things they say is just having somebody to call. And it's not just calling somebody, not having someone to call to talk about, Golden Girls and, stuff like that. But it's more so having like, dang, if I really get in a bind, who can I call? Like I tell people, one of the things that I miss about being a pastor, one of the things I miss, and this is why I know that community is valuable. Why to me it's something worth building. To me, it's something worth kind of laying it all on the line for. Because one of the things that when I was in Bridge Toll Money, that is dope. Dang, I might start using that. Bridge Toll Money. Thank you. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. See, that one took me so far off. I don't even know what I was about to say. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, damn. Look at there. Y'all just gonna break the bank today. This community is a circle. Thank you, Shelwyn. Absolutely it is. Oh, I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. So when I was a pastor, it never failed. If somebody was moving, they had someone to call. I want you to think about that. When the last time you moved? Maybe it ain't been a long time. But if somebody was moving, they always had somebody to call because we had a community. We had a ready built-in community, built-in ready community. So you could have not even been a member of the church. You just come into the church every now and then. And you say, hey y'all, I'm actually getting ready to move next week. And like almost like you didn't even have to ask, like almost immediately people say, hey, you need any help? What day you moving? I got a truck, you know. I can bring somebody else, one of the ladies in the church would be like, yeah, my teenage boys, they just sitting at home, they ain't doing nothing, they can come help too. And it's like you have no idea how much of an impact that makes on people's lives, how much of an impact it gives you to have that space. And so it was a beautiful moment when someone brought it up in the conversation that, like, one of the real things that I want from this community, even though we're global, we're scattered, we're all over the world right now, but as we build and we get local, I just want to know that I got somebody to call. If something is that's what being connected means. Being connected means having somebody to call. And if I can't call you, why are we connected? Oh, man. When connection is healthy, it acts like a stabilizing system. It absorbs shock, it distributes weight, and it creates resilience. When it's missing or misaligned, everything else has to work harder to compensate. Okay? Now, I am a firm believer in hard work. I am. I don't know. People can say it's the Protestant work ethic. I don't know. I don't think that's what it is. I'm a firm believer in hard work, but and I and you rarely get butts from me about hard work because I'm just like, hey, no, we got to work. We got to do the work. Like if your cells stop working right now, you stop living. So when people say, man, there got to be more than work than living. No, living is work. Work is living. They're interchangeable. You're alive because you're working. Oh, y'all missed that. That was too good. That was too good. But this is why when our connections are not healthier, things are definitely more difficult than they need to be for our lives. You know, speaking from an African American cultural context, that's definitely one of the things that I started realizing with many of our families is that many of our families are crowds and not circles. It's like, because how we got a family this big and life is still hard for all of us because we're not connected. We're not connected. We're treating connection as a convenience. It's just something that's here. It's just something that happens to be. We just so happen to be related. We just so happen to be in a relationship. But no, connection has a purpose. Connection has utility. And it's our responsibility. What's up? It's our responsibility, to understand that utility. At the end of the day, the connection problem, and it creates almost like a loop, right? It creates a cycle because you're not connected. So you don't have the relationships. So life feels hard, right? Life feels harder. And then because life feels harder, you tend to retreat more so in yourself because now you don't have the time to engage other people. Which leads us to this other issue that, because oof, and this is, damn, I'm not going to get through all of these notes. There's no way around it now. I see it. It leads us to another issue. I got too much coming to my mind. It leads us to another issue. And it's the issue of another reason people stay in the crowd is because they're overwhelmed by the circles. You know, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming on all sides. It's overwhelming to be in a circle. It's overwhelming to be in a crowd while going through hell. You know what I'm saying? And then hearing everything that everybody else is going through, and then also knowing that nobody can really give a damn about what you're dealing with. You know? Ah. And the thing is, the problem isn't that people don't care, it's that they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. We're all so, everybody's overworked, overwhelmed, caught up in whatever else is going on. And so we honestly, it's difficult for us to care because we still think caring happens automatically and not intentionally. We forget, like, no, sometimes you have to press pause and press play to care. Like one thing that I do now, and I started doing this probably about 3 or 4 years ago, is that when someone is talking to me, if I realize I floated out of the conversation, because I will float the fuck away in a minute, you know, and that's part of me, part of me floating away is being polite. I could walk away, but instead I just float away in my mind. And I've been doing that my whole life. And so this is what I did this time. Instead of saying, hey, uh now when I'm recognizing that someone is talking to me and I've floated out of the conversation, I'll pause and say, you know what? I didn't hear a word you said after such and such. I am so sorry. And if I want to stay in the conversation, I'll say, can you repeat that? Now, if I don't want to stay in the conversation, I'll say something else like, hey, I didn't hear any of that and I'm sorry, I got to go, type of thing. But for the most part, it became like, dude, you have to pause to care. You got to pause. It's easy to float away. All right. So the problem isn't that community is impossible. It's that we've confused access with intimacy. Intimacy. So now that I have access to you, I know you. So the work is done. The work is done. But I think any of you who've been following me since the very beginning, I've been very clear telling anybody that, hey, you don't know me. Don't put me on your pedestal. I used to have people telling me stuff like, man, I really look up to you. And I'm like, that's not a flex. That's a flaw. It's a flaw. And I have to be that way, y'all. You understand? Like, I have to be that way. That's the only way I can be counterculture to the world that I was a part of. I'm not looking to be your hero. The most important hero in your life is you. Is you. Oh, man. I like that, Dark Light. Access is entry-level association. It's not even the first date. You know what I'm saying? It's not even the first date. And you acting like we done saw each other fully butt naked. And it just happened. Yes. And so, listen, design always precedes function. So before we can connect better with others, we have to understand what kind of connection we're actually seeking and why so many of our current relationships aren't delivering it. Because you can build circles with others, but you have to learn how to recognize when you're standing in a crowd and what it's costing you to stay there. And then here's the beautiful thing. Choosing the circle doesn't always mean leaving the crowd. Yeah, let's put some nuance on that. Choosing the circle doesn't always mean leaving the crowd. As I said in the beginning, the crowd isn't negative. It's just not built to sustain what we're often trying to get from it. So choosing circles doesn't mean leaving the crowd. It means being able to better navigate the crowd. So I do have some reflection questions for you. I got some questions that you can ask yourself. And let me open this back up and make sure I'm not missing anybody's chats. Y'all know I got eyes like a blind man. That's why I got these big ass glasses on. So I'll be having a look. All right. So where in my life am I mistaking activity for intimacy? Consider the spaces where you're busy, involved, or constantly present, but rarely feel known, supported, or grounded. What does that busyness protect you from actually noticing? Okay. Which relationships or environments give me exposure without intention? And right now in the world that we live in, that's a lot. A lot. I'm amazed. Okay, I'm going to say something that's probably going to upset some of you, but it's okay. I don't care. So, because it's my feelings, and you shouldn't be upset about my feelings. My feelings don't exist in you. But I am actually concerned. All right, Monica, it was great having you in here today. I am actually concerned at the amount of people who are obsessed. Okay, I'm walking on thin ice. Who are obsessed with the Epstein situation. I'm concerned because I'm watching people who are otherwise critical thinkers make a lot of really childish jumps just because it feeds an agenda that they've already attached themselves to. And that's scaring the hell out of me, because then, like, now there's a whole bunch of grown adults who are purposefully looking for photos from the Epstein files and circulating them on social media. And I'm like, whoa, there is a fine line between concern and compulsory behavior. Because now I'm like, ooh, this is getting scary, man. It's reactionary. And it's like, if my child was in any of those pictures, you sharing them to prove some type of political point is mind-blowing. And how we can shortcut that and skip right all over that and say, no, I'm really doing this because I care about these families. And it's like, you're a fucking liar. You don't care about those girls. You don't care about those families. All you care about is the latest round of gossip, and you'll spread it even if it spreads further dehumanization. Again, like, I watch people do it with the Obama's clip. I'm like, okay, yeah, so some kook creates this video. Yes, call it out, decry racism, but who are you helping by sharing the video? Because I love President Obama. Look what they did to him. Oh, you ain't no friend of mine. If that's my family and somebody putting me and my family in a video with 8 faces, and you tell them, oh, look at what they just did to my best friend Durante. Make sure y'all share this far and wide. You are no longer critically thinking. You are so caught up in the sauce that you're operating off of hate. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. But these are things I'm like, no, I thought we were the good guys. And of course, that was my own superstition. That's my own, we ain't no good guys. There's only good work. Woo! Those are bars. You know? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be giving y'all the reflection questions. When I say I'm fine, what am I actually managing beneath the surface? Going back to the example I gave you earlier, that I realized a long time ago that we're not even really talking to each other anymore. And the proof is, when we say, hey, how you doing? Don't nobody really want to know how you doing. You know, our head of community said we need to just start saying, nice to see you. Hey, nice to see you. Oh, dang, look at that. Meeting canceled on it. That is hilarious. So it's like, when I say I'm fine, what am I actually managing beneath the surface? We have these words that we say. We have these shortcuts that we say. So someone says, hey, how are you? I'm fine. How are you holding up with all of this? I'm fine. How are you dealing with it? I'm fine. What are you actually managing beneath that I'm fine? Like, what I start challenging people to do is, when you use I'm fine, is finish the sentence. You're fine with what? That's a good exercise. So next time you catch yourself saying, I'm fine with what? Next guy use, no, it's okay. What is okay? I got people all in my inboxes a lot of times trying to holler at your boy. And I'm a married man. And I tell people, listen, you don't want to be with me. I aggravate the hell out of my wife. I promise you, like, you don't want to be with me. Let me tell you something. I'm aggravating as fuck, like, in real life, because I am who I am. The stuff I talk about, oh my goodness. So one of the things that in the early stages of our marriages, I know I drove this woman crazy, because anytime she would talk to me using pronouns, I'd say, you got to replace that pronoun. I have to know, because Here's something that we often do when we're talking to people. We use these pronouns, but we don't define them. You know, it's over there. What is over there? Well, they think this. Who is they? You know what I'm saying? Well, we'll be there in a minute. Exactly who is we? you know? And I'm making jokes out of it, but I want you to know it's like we do it a lot. Have you ever like started a thought in your mind and then you finished it out loud? And so you're expecting the other person to know the first part of the thought when they didn't hear that shit. They're not in your mind with you. And so you're like, no, it's clear. The context is clear. No, the context is here. It's trapped up in here. You didn't bring it out. So, but it's establishing. Oh, I like that. That is funny. That is funny. Oh, damn. Y'all got to stop, man. That's too much. But it's so. I love pronouns as a writer, as an author, but they too can become substitutes in our own lives because it's so easy to just put a pronoun there. Well, they are really frustrating me right now. Who is they? And the reason is so important to allow yourself to unpack that because you may be treating everybody like they, and it's really specific people. So who are the specific people that are doing this? Like when people come to me, I'm like, Durante, it's the people at the top. They just trying to control you and they blocking this. How do you know them? Who are they? And if you're not close enough to define the pronoun, I can't trust your judgment on it, player. You're too far from it. There's no they there, right? Oh, I love that. Damn, that's gold. There's no they there. Next reflection question. What am I asking crowds to give me that only circles can? And think about that. Where you're seeking identity, validation, direction, or meaning from large groups or institutions. How has that worked for you and where has it fallen short? That was that was a good one for me. Is like I was expecting, and that's a part of being a pastor. I was expecting to be validated by the crowd. I was expecting my identity to be concretized by the crowd. I was expecting my direction and my meaning to be validated by the crowd. And that leads, at least for me, into a world of where I was constantly frustrated, constantly stressed, constantly overwhelmed, because I'm expecting something from the crowd that it really can't give. Now, I'm not going to say everybody needs to do this, but when I shifted my life to start focusing on circles, my circle got so damn small that bitch became a period. You get it? Yeah, my circle became a period. Me. Dot. That's it. But that period, y'all are like seriously, y'all are cracking me up, man. That period did something for me that was necessary, and that allowed me to pull my identity, my validation, my direction, and my meaning from myself. So now, because of that, guess what? I'm one of the hardest people in the world to control. Oh man, you can't you can't control me. I'm not very easy to manipulate. I used to be like, oh man, I think that's why I'm not easy to manipulate now, is because I used to be so easy to manipulate, and I was so easy to manipulate because I was constantly doubting my skepticism. I had someone reach out to me maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. Now let me clarify. First, they didn't reach out to me. I had someone who apparently think there's somebody, and so they called themselves lecturing me on one of my Facebook posts. And I don't know if any of you know me. I am not a 16-year-old, so I don't do Facebook conversations. People who follow me on Facebook, they now know that. I let people know, like, hey, I have 4 kids. So I'm not going to be on here talking every day. And that's okay. I got to say it. That's something that started concerning me because I'm like, damn, I kind of feel like a lot of people I was coming across for like a whole year, the only thing they wanted to do was just be on social media picking at other people. And I'm like, oh, I'm a grown up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right? 79-year-old, 16-year-old either. Right? Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not about to do this all damn day with y'all. So you don't even see stuff like that on my page. I don't engage people there. If you want to have a conversation with me, you message me and I'll ignore it there. you know. So, but this person who is a name in the secular community decided that they were going to leave a long message under one of my posts giving their thoughts about their opinions on me and what they think that I should do. And of course I had to politely immediately remove that shit off my page. Don't be cluttering my page with your bullshit. And then number 2, message them and say, hey, you and I have never had a conversation before. We don't know each other. So I don't even know why you think it was appropriate to do that. You will hear me say stuff like this a lot. You are a fucking stranger in my life. Behave accordingly. The World Health Organization. Oh man. Yeah, like I can't I can't do it, man. Like I can't do it. So the big point is now that I don't get my validation from the crowd, I really don't give a fuck about what the crowd thinks. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks I should be doing. I don't give a fuck about how anybody else thinks I should be living my life or how I should be checking other people when they cross my boundaries. And the fact that there are people in the secular community who think that that's appropriate lets me know that many of these motherfuckers are no different than religious nutcases. And this is why they out here just talking about balls all the damn time. Well, see, that's exactly what we're talking about. I'm glad you said, he said, well, you are a public speaker. Everyone is going to think they have some type of connection to you as well. That's the problem. Being a public speaker doesn't equal knowing somebody. You see the disconnect there? You saw the pun? You see the disconnect? Someone being an artist doesn't mean you know them. Someone being the president doesn't mean you know them. And that's what we're talking about. Access doesn't equal intimacy. Visibility doesn't equal validation. Damn, this is good. And so it's like, I expect the children to behave like children. I expect the religious people to behave like children. I don't expect the people who are critiquing and criticizing the religious people to act like children, because that demonstrates to me that you don't actually have a problem with the harm that's being caused. You just have a problem because it's a different team. And at that moment, you're not motivated by goodness. You're motivated by tribalism. Whoosh. And that's like, because at some point you got to ask yourself, how does the community exist this long and still be this unhealthy? Come on now, what you say? That's it. You're not wrong. Who said that? That had to be Dark Light. That had to be Dark Light. Let me get over here and get my old man eyes on. Yep, I knew it. See, thank you. And I'm glad you put this in here, Dark, because I want other people to understand this. It was almost 2 months before Big D responded to my Facebook message. When he did, he's like, look, bro, I'm busy building my shit. I got things going on. Don't got time for small talk. But hi, I do not be lying, y'all. I do not be lying. But Dark Light, he's constantly supporting my stuff. We talk every now and then through a mild chat. He'll send me something. I'll respond like 5 weeks later with a heart on it. He's on our campus now. And then the good thing is He get to pop up in meetings every now and then, Yes. That's right. We ain't kissing and you want a blowjob. Like, what? Hey, slow it down. Let's get to know each other. Tickle my toes first now. Now let me stop. Oh man. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all. Like, how did I was about to say I got 15 pages of notes. No, I biggie sized it. Let me tell y'all how blind I am. Trolls do live under bridges, though. I have definitely seen a lot of that. This is how blind I am. Like, so I got my notes on my little laptop right here. I have to biggie size my notes to like 15 font, 15 and 16 font in order to read this without having to go down here every time and look like I'm giving a blowjob. I don't want to be doing that the whole time. Like, what is he doing down there? I don't know. And I'm not kink shaming, Whatever you do for fun, I'm here for it. Speaking of Biggie, oh man. And in his last reflection question, if I'm being honest, what is it costing me to stay where I am relationally? And that's a good landing question. If I'm being honest, and I want you to kind of like think about your state of connection. You don't have to use the way that I look at connection to to define how healthy your state of connection is, right? But based on you living your life, you going through your lived experience, based on where you are right now, how would you measure your state of connection? Do you have healthy connections? Do your connections feed you? Are your connections, do you have the type of connections that you can lean on when you need support? Whether it's emotional support or tangible support. What is the state of your connection right now, right? And once you kind of diagnose that or kind of unpack that for yourself, the next question is, okay, what is it costing me for it to stay like this? And I find that, damn, this is good. I find that that's really where motivation comes for change. That's where motivation comes to do better. Sometimes people don't realize how much not changing is costing them. Sometimes people don't realize how much not connecting is costing them. But if you can help people see the cost, like anytime you're going through like a rough time in life, like, and that's what it is, because we're all going through a rough time right now, and I'm finding that we don't know how to deal with it. So anytime you're going through like this rough time, these rough time periods in life, that's a great time to start interrogating yourself and say, okay, now what is it costing me to stay here? And you like, because you'll be stuck and like, I can't move, I can't get out of here, I don't know my way forward. And the way you find your way forward, you got a commercial? There should be no ads running. I always run my ads afterwards. I'm curious what the commercial was, though. But it's like, once you can answer the question of cost, you'll typically find the motivation to move. Once you realize, like, I've seen people stay in all types of jacked up situations until one day the light bulb hit and it was just like, oh, this is costing me way too much. Oh, okay. This is costing me way too much. Not being connected is costing me way too much. That was something from, damn, I didn't plan to end it here, but this is why I'll end it at. That was the reason, that was one of the driving factors to me starting to share my story and to get more active. It was two things. One, reading A Letter to a Christian Nation by Sam Harris, where he said some things that for me, I was like, no, this man is absolutely right about a particular thing. And that was, which I've done a video on, if there was a comet headed or an asteroid headed to the planet and was going to wipe out half of the population, there's a significant amount of U.S. citizens who would actually believed that that was Jesus coming back to get them, and that the government was lying to keep Jesus from coming back. Because that's always the thing about the Christians. Man can always stop what God is doing. It's very weird. It's very weird. I don't want to go there, but it's very weird. But the other thing was, I was working on a startup at the time, and then I realized that, ooh, Durante, like, you've been out of a circle for so long that, bruh, nobody in your life actually knows you. So I realized I was working on a startup, and I was like, I can't build anything yet. I don't have a circle. And it wasn't just like I don't have people to work with. It's like I don't have people who'd even want to work on this because I've been lost in the crowd for so long that I haven't even been trying to find my circle. And so if you watch the video on my YouTube channel that talks about why I do this, it's for very selfish reasons. I'm trying to find my circle. I do this to find other people who say, you know what, I kind of like the cut of his jib. I don't know what a jib is, but I've always thought it was a dick. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. But you say, I kind of like what he's saying. I kind of like what he's talking about. I kind of like his thoughts. I resonate with those. I'm looking for. Oh, I do need to look into that. Thank you. I am looking for my circle in this great big crowded place. That's the number one reason I started sharing content, is because I realized I needed to find my circles. Like, nobody in my family can sit in a room with me without wondering why I don't believe in God, even though if I wasn't in the room, God would be the last thing on their mind. I'm about to laugh so hard. And so I don't have people in my life. It's not that I don't have people in my life at that time who didn't even know me, but it's like, no, you don't even want to, you don't really even know what I want to do. You don't even want to know the work that I want to do. And that's what kind of finally made sense. Like my family for the longest was just a crowd in my life. There'd never been a support system, just a crowd, just people to go by and see every now and then. And so I was like, no, I gotta navigate this crowd and find my circle. I gotta find my people. I gotta find people that I can be vulnerable with. I gotta find people that I can be safe with. I gotta find people that I don't have to perform with. I gotta find people that I don't have to pretend with. And I gotta find people that I don't have to conform with. I need people in my circle where I don't have to be you to be me. Can I say that again? Yeah, I need the type of circles where I don't have to be you to be me. Well, Durante, I look at it like this. That's because you're looking through your eyes. Yeah, to me, like, if you've seen me, I am very against trying to police other people. Like, especially if it's not something where somebody's actually causing harm or anything like that, you're the problem. Well, if I was you, you're not in that sentence right there. Don't even finish that sentence. You're not them. That's that religious superstitious baggage. Feeling like we got a right to control other people, or that other people have to submit their ideologies to ours. No. You don't win people through force. That's not what you do. That's that person has a whole lived experience. Your smarts don't undercut that. As a matter of fact, it's kind of disrespectful. It seems to me we've become professional jerks. Jackasses, jacked up on our own arrogance. And it's not necessary, nor is it productive. So why even do it? I had people get mad at me because I wouldn't join their hate bandwagons. Well, if you were really a good person, you'd say the things we're saying too. That's not what defines a good person. I don't know how smart people could say that. Like in a community that knows about confirmation bias, in a community that knows about logical fallacies, we're running afoul of critical thinking on all sides right now. All right, I can't be on that house too long. Y'all know I'll get up there and I will stay my ass up there because I have a lot to say. But at the end of the day, it's like we're not going to be connecting better if the whole goal is connection through conformity. One of the first things I wrote down when I first started preparing to bring Bridge City like public, you know, before we brought it out public, one of the things I wrote down about our values is that disagreement doesn't have to lead disconnection. And so honestly, and I will end here, honestly, that's why I pulled out of like the atheist YouTube space. The moment I saw that they were persecuting people who disagreed with them, the once I saw that you had a lot of people in that community who were okay assassinating other people's character over disagreements, and now taking this virtue signaling to a far to such a strong point that you're developing strong hateful feelings towards people that you only know their username. To me, that's not an exercise in intelligence. To me, that's not an exercise in critical thinking. That's being kids on the playground. I recognize bullying when I see it. And just because you share my label doesn't mean I'm going to be okay with being a part of it. That's typically how bullying works. That's how it gets to persist, because somebody says, well, no, if you was one of us, you'd be doing it too. And so now that's what we've raised up. We've raised up an entire community of bullies and cowards, Twitter fingers that ain't never been a trigger finger. You know, I'm sorry. Ooh. They do. They do. I've seen it so many times. I'm a sociologist, so I view things differently than other people view them. People wanted me to, and I'll say it. Shit, I've never said this out loud. Oh, damn. I've only shared this with my Discord people when we had one. But at one point, people were trying to pressure me from having any relationship with Derek Lambert of Myth Vision. And I mean, like, really pressure. And I told them, hey, get the fuck away from me with that. I graduated high school in 2004. No, get the fuck away. It was very odd to me. It was very odd to me. That's right. It was I said, hey, I don't even know Derek like that. Derek. Now I will say, Derek Lambert is one of the few people in this community that I've actually been on the phone with. He's one of the few people that I will answer his call. And well, let me clarify. I don't answer his call, and he probably mad at me about it now. But I will typically call him back or send a voice message. But Derek has been he's always expressed humanity in every conversation he and I have had. And then even at the time when people were pressuring or trying to put on this pressure, I'm like, hey, Derek and I don't interact that much. So what you're doing is really just trying to get me to get on your bandwagon, and I don't even have a dog in that fight. Oh, I've seen some of that. I've seen some of that done to Mifflin. I don't have a dog in that fight. And they were like, well, he's platforming people on his channel that he shouldn't be. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. I'm not on the board of directors for his channel. And last time I checked, I don't think you are either, is what I, told one of the people that I was trying to be nice to. But no, like, honestly, I get upset about stuff like that. And people like, no, what, what did you think I was gonna do? What do you think I'm gonna do? And it's like, it's trying to punish people through ostraciz. Damn, I can't get the words out. It's trying to punish people through isolation. We'll go that way. And like, nope, if they're not doing what we want them to do, if they're not conforming to what we want them to conform to, then you got to punish them through silence, and you have to label them. Hell, I've been labeled a misogynist, and I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Give me a new label. Because you can put as many labels on me as you want. There's only one that sticks, and it's Durante Lamar. It's the one that I love. It's the one that I was born with, you know. But no, it's like, no, I don't do stuff like that because number one, connection means something to me. And when I say connection means something to me, that doesn't just meaning that, my friendships mean something to me. I mean, no, it literally means connections mean something to me, in the sense that I don't allow myself to have opinions where there is no connection, like for the most part, extreme cases, extreme exceptions. But I don't allow myself to have opinions, have opinions that far off, right? That's just it's way beyond my proximity. Um, so no, I didn't. That wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of. And as soon as I saw that things like that happen in the community quite frequently, that there was like a lot of witch hunts that go on, and I'm like, to what utility? You know, to what utility? Uh, and I've spent a significant part of my life as a real activist. Okay, if you've never put yourself in harm's way and in line of fire to protect other people, then like I need you not to come my way with performative activism. And that's what I felt like a lot of that was. So damn, I can't believe I've never shared this. And I don't watch most of anybody. Sorry, I'm busy. And like I can't even keep up with the new Star Trek, you know? That really is the thing. Some people seem to just love to hate, and that's that. I'm not here for that. It's amazing how many people claim to honor Dr. King, but don't seem to. And I wasn't even Dr. King's biggest fan. You know, the bridge is the connection. What you'll notice if you ever join our community, one thing that you'll notice is that it's not a rage fest. I mean, it's a fest. We have a lot of good times. We're having a house party this next week. Having a house party next week. You bring the food and the drinks. We'll bring the games. We're going to be celebrating our new members. We have a lot of good time. We have a lot of conversations, and we're still just in the beginning. But it can be off-putting for some people who come in and just like, oh, I thought we were going to beat up on Christians. And I'm like, nah, I'm not making Fight Club. Bridge City is not Fight Club. All right. It's where we come to do life together. I've watched a few episodes of the new Star Trek. I haven't been pulled all the way in, but I do enjoy it. And how you got me talking about Star Trek? You see that? I'm supposed to be gone, but Neuro Spicy is here, so I'm here for the Star Trek. Uh, I've been enjoying it so far, even though I'm not fully caught up on the storyline. But to be fair, that's more of a me thing than the show thing. I do have to watch shows like a few times. Like I finished Fallout and didn't watch most of it and loved every bit of it, even though I didn't watch most of it. So, but I did enjoy, I've enjoyed every Star Wars show that I've watched so far. I recognize that there's different writing for some of them and different storylines. Bridge City Fight Club. What I love the most about Star Trek, and I guess that's probably one of the reasons why I still watch it even now, is I like to see just the evolution of the ships themselves, like the Enterprise, the Discovery, the Voyager. I love those ships. Like, man, it's probably gonna be. I'm probably gonna get some trouble for this when we do it, but when we start building Bridge City campuses, I kind of want all the offices to be designed like a Star Trek, like the bridge in a Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think. But I got weird thoughts. I also want Captain Planet to be like Bridge City's mascot, but I want the Don Cheadle Captain Planet to be Bridge City's mascot. Wouldn't that be awesome? When our powers combine, we are, you know, Captain Planet. I love it. I love it. Is it? Okay, now I've watched 2 episodes of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm going to need to catch up. You are needed at the bridge. Report to the bridge. And literally, hey, if you're not connected to Bridge City, what are you doing? We need you. We need you. Get in here, get connected, find your people, find your tribe. If you're trying to make the world that we share a better place, that's literally our mission, to help people connect better, build better, so that we can all live better, right? We are forward thinking, we're people centric, and we're life affirming. So yes, we're kind of like a church, but you can smoke, drink, and we don't care who you fuck. I like it. I like it. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. This has been a wonderful time. I'm gonna be very, very honest. Like, I was not feeling well today. Like, I have days where I am a little more down, and it was kind of actually hard to do this. For a moment, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do my live today. And then I was just sitting here, and when the live hit and the habanero hell yeah came on, I was like, I can make it. I can make it. Always a great time here, learning and growing daily. Thank you so much, Shelwyn. Shelwyn's another member of our campus. I love this brother. Just got to meet him for the first time, I think last week, even though he's been supporting for a while. So, man, I love you all. If you're not connected, get connected. Let's have a good time. We have movie nights. I no longer have a Discord server. I had one, and I got rid of it because, y'all want the truth? I hate Discord. I hate it. And it's not Discord that I hate. I think I hate the YouTube space Discord for right now. And so it really, and it's a better way to probably say that is, it just, Discord wasn't conducive for the community that I was trying to build. I didn't really have that framework for what we needed. And so there was just a lot of, it was just a lot of people fussing at each other, and a lot of people creating problems, and a lot of people like making enemies out of people. Like, I remember one time somebody came in and said something about like, oh yeah, I looked this up on ChatGPT, and then someone else immediately starts yelling at him, you shouldn't be using AI. And I'm like, bruh, that is a grown fucking person. What is wrong with y'all? Is that what you do? You like remind me of one of them people who, like, you see somebody smoking a cigarette, you go and start giving them you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. If you don't get your ass out my fucking face, you know, you see I put my hands back there, like, I'm going old school now. That's how you know you're getting old. That's how you know you're getting old. But no, so I did stop doing hey, that's a good point. Discord is not about unity. It is in the name. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. But for, if you do want to interact with our community, this is where you can go to get connected. Ooh, another super sticker. Man, this has been amazing today. Like, y'all, I feel like y'all trying to keep me out here. And Monica, since you're still here, like, I need you on the team. Like, you're already a part of here. You're already a part of what we're doing every Sunday. You're already supporting financially. We need you on the team. I don't know what we got to do to make it happen, but we need you on the team. Either the head of community or my wife, somebody gonna reach out, because we gotta get you on the team if they haven't already. If they haven't already. Oh man. Y'all are too much. But yeah, so if you do want to connect with our community, you can go there. And that link is on the screen, and I'll keep it up for a little bit just in case you can't see it. Yes, can do the mixing. I know that y'all are too much. But see, that's what it feels like to just be with people, and there is no pressure. Like, there's no pressure to perform, no pressure to pretend. We all get to be ourselves. You know, like, you don't owe me a mask. You don't owe me anything. And that's again mentioned earlier. I said in all of my meetings, I'm smoking and I'm drinking. And I do that so, because if I get naked, other people feel comfortable getting naked. I couldn't help but smile after it because I said naked. You know, you think about people naked, and it does make you smile a little bit. But no, if I'm not willing to be a real and authentic person, then it's going to be harder for other people. And if I create these performative aspects of, okay, no, when we're here, we got to have this face on. And like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want people feeling like they have to change who they are to be around us. I don't want people feeling like they have to change who they are to be a part of what we're doing. We're going to find a way to work together. I often remind people that, yes, I am an atheist. Bridge City is not an atheist organization. You know, does Bridge City exist for atheists? Yeah, but not because they're atheists. Bridge City exists for atheists because they're people. Bridge City exists for people. Bridge City is trying to solve a people problem, not an us versus them problem, but an all of us problem. And that's where I know that's hard work, and I know that's unpopular work, but I think that's where the work is. That's where the work needs to be done. I actually have a meeting with somebody who consults with the board of Twitch in March. So we may talk about doing something there, but I don't know for sure. Honestly, if we do, Zernial, if you're watching this after the fact, that'll be in your arm of operations. Zernial is our head of production, and so that'll go under him, because I suck at all of this, and purposefully I suck at production. I suck at production. I mean, I'm better than most, but I suck. And so that'll switching to Twitch, like it hurts my head to even think about it, you know? Because I'm like, who's gonna do all that? Okay, I'm already doing too much. Y'all know I make all my thumbnails. I write all my scripts. I would say I respond to all my emails, but we know that's a lie. I got like 500 unread emails right now, you know? Thank you all. You're all wonderful. Listen, I done started sweating, so I know it's time for me to go. But that's also because I'm actually feeling much better. Y'all have brought some joy back to my day, and just thank you all. Thank you all for being you. Thank you for understanding me. Thank you for hearing me, and thank you for allowing me to be myself. You know, as we navigate. This video was actually, I freestyled so much in this video, more than I expected to. So I didn't get through all of my notes for this. But what I will do is next Wednesday, we'll just pick up right where we left off, and we'll finish this out as a series. That's going to be aggravating as fuck, because I'm going to have to find a way to refresh the thumbnail title and the titles for the next few weeks on the same subject. But I think the subject is necessary and helpful. Did y'all get something valuable out of the conversation today? That's what I'll do right before I leave, and I'm just going to start stripping on camera because I'm getting hot. But before I leave, and just for those of you who have time to hang around a little bit, before I leave, what value did you get out of this conversation? How do conversations like these help you? What do you get from stuff like this? What I get from it is I just get to be me. You know, and that feels good. But I'd be very curious to know what you get out of these conversations. How are these helping you? Are these helping you? Well, I think one of the small things that some people end up getting out of these that they didn't even realize they were going to get was connection with other people. That's why I love watching the chat activity, because then you find a new name that you didn't know. And then you start seeing that name a little bit more, you know. And then you say, oh, okay, I like the cut of that person's jib. There's that word again. Yeah, it helps to gather thoughts. I love that. And that's really what it is for me too. Because, you know, I often tell people, like, I'm not anybody's source of truth. I'm just another point of reference, you know. And that's all I ever want to be, is a point of reference, which I try to lace all of my conversations that I have with our community and our audience with this idea, like, hey, this works for me. I don't know if it'll work for you. This is what I had to do. I don't know if you will have to do that. I don't, is that I want people to understand that I share this information not as a voice of authority, but just a voice of experience to say, here's what my experience is in the world. And if there's something of value in that experience, something that you can get from it, then I'm glad. Because honestly, that's actually how knowledge building works. You need more and more points of references that helps you understand larger subjects. That's a whole nother conversation. So I'm not even gonna go any further than that. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Until next time, be the bridge and keep rising. I'm gonna give y'all some outro music. Let's roll.
Made it through hunger, you made it through pain, you made it through drought, and you made it through rain. You rose over conflict, you've conquered your shame. You've done it before and you'll do it again.
You made it through hunger, you made it through pain,
Yeah.
you made it through drought, and you made it through rain. You rose over conflict, you conquered your shame.
Yeah.
You've done it before and you
Do it again. There is nothing that can ever take your place, 'cause you made it. You are one of us, this global human race. You made it here.
There is nothing that can ever take your place.
'Cause you made it here. You are one of us, this global human race. You made it here.
You made it through darkness, you made up your mind.
Yeah.
You dealt with the hardest of times.
Oh.
You're finding your joy now and learning to shine.
Oh.
Enjoying your voice and reclaiming your time.
Again.
Made it through darkness,
Yeah.
made up your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
You dealt with the hardest of times.
You're finding
Finding your joy,
your joy now.
learning to shine.
Enjoy.
Enjoying your voice and reclaiming your time.
There is nothing that can ever take your place.
You made it here.
You are one of us, this global human race.
You made it
Yeah.
here.
There is nothing that can ever take your place.
You made it here.
You are one of us, this global human race.
You made it
Yeah.
If you know that you made it, come on, stand up and say it. If you know that you made it,
Don't let them hold you back any longer.
if you know that you made it,
Come on, come on.
come on, stand up and say it.
Don't let them hold you back any longer. If you know that you made it, come on, say it. Come on, stand up and say it. If you know that you made it, don't let them hold you back any longer. 'Cause there is nothing that can ever take your place.
You made it
You are one of us, this global human race. Oh, there's nothing that could ever take your place. Is anybody glad that you made it?